What's up? Welcome to Chronochord Gaming and our playthrough here of Wrestlemania, the arcade game for PlayStation 1. My name is JC, along with my tag team partner C-Dub. What's up, brother?
Happy to be here as always. Taking a look over this roster for Wrestlemania, the arcade game. We have some of the top stars of the WWF at the time. Of course, we're going to go with Razor Ramon here. Also playable is The Undertaker, Doink, Bam Bam Bigelow, Shawn Michaels, our opponent here, Yokozuna, accompanied by Mr. Fuji, Made in the USA, Lex Luger, and of course, the Hitman, Bret Hart. JC, I know both of us were big wrestling fans in the 90s, and this is really right in our wheelhouse as far as our fandom in the WWF, and I think a lot of people's as well.
Certainly mine, C-Dub. I was a big fan of all of these wrestlers at the time, and Razor Ramon had to be my number one guy. Always picked him when I played this game in the arcade. It was a lot more fun with the joystick controls, I must say, on the arcade console compared to the PS1 controller I'm using now. You saw that we are going for the Intercontinental Championship, and another episode is in the works with our hunt for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. But for right now, Razor Ramon's taking on Yokozuna. C-Dub, did these two guys ever fight in real life?
Razor Ramon and Yokozuna were two guys who debuted around the same time in late 1992 in the Federation. As we go here to take on one of our rivals, Shawn Michaels. Razor Ramon and Yokozuna never had a featured feud against each other, though they, I believe, did compete in some matches against one another through their time in the Federation.
Now we do know very much about the rivalry between Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels, as Shawn is pinned for the first fall there by Razor. C-Dub, the WrestleMania 10 ladder match has to be one of my favorite matches of all time.
Without question, man, that was one of the all-time classics. 1994 Match of the Year, as voted by the readers of the Pro Wrestling Observer newsletter. And it's one of my favorite WrestleMania matches of all time. Was recently ranked by WWE.com as number 5 of the top 24 matches in WrestleMania history. We did vanquish Shawn Michaels, just like in the WrestleMania 10 match. Moving along here to our third match, taking on Bam Bam Bigelow, the Beast from the East. JC, Bam Bam was always one of my favorites, and I think a lot of people's favorites due to the super cool flame tattoo on his bald head.
Yeah, he was kind of the WWF equivalent of Big Van Vader to me. Very agile, big men that could do a lot of things off the top rope. Unfortunately, Razor Ramon just kicked his ass there pretty quickly. That is one fall for Razor, none for Bam Bam. The Beast from the East, as he was known in his heyday. I just remember him dominating guys for a long time in the WWF, but he never really made it to top tier status in my eyes.
No, Bam Bam was one of the greats, and strangely enough that you made the connotation connecting him to Vader, who was his tag team partner in Japan. Bam Bam is probably best known for his WrestleMania 11 main event matchup against NFL great Lawrence Taylor. And just like against Lawrence Taylor, Bam Bam has been defeated. We're moving along to Doink the Clown here, JC. And this guy has some moves that are no laughing matter.
Yeah, Doink has the Joker-esque shock handshake. I like that move a lot, but unfortunately I feel like he gets you very often with it in this game. Now, with Razor's gameplay mechanics here, it did take me a little bit to figure out how to do that right there, how to grapple a guy and hold him, get him ready for the big moves. And from there, it was just a lot of experimentation. I haven't played this game in so long. And luckily I discovered the Razor's Edge finishing move, which just happened to be one of my favorites from back in the day. C-Dub, what was your favorite finishing move from the early 90s WWF?
That's a tough call to make, JC, but I'm going to have to go with another competitor from this game, Bret the Hitman Hart, and his sharpshooter finishing maneuver that led him to not only the Intercontinental Championship that we are contesting for here, but World Wrestling Federation Championship Gold, the Promised Land, the World Heavyweight Championship. But I do have to give an honorable mention to Shawn Michaels and his Sweet Chin Music, as well as Big Daddy Cool Diesel and the Jackknife Powerbomb.
All right, Doink took round 1, Razor took round 2. It's not looking good for Razor right now, man. Doink's taunting me, trying to get me from the top rope, but failing. Oh, uppercut. This game really reminds me of some other combat games from the time, like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Oh, as Razor's tearing up Doink with this 21-hit combo. Pretty badass, C-Dub.
That was sick. It's just that easy. Another win for the bad guy, Razor Ramon. Moving along here to the next match, we're going to be taking on a clone of ourselves, as well as Bret the Hitman Hart here in match number 6. Of course, best 2 of 3 falls. Much like, as you said, other fighting games of the day. In this game, you don't fight in one long match. It is, however, the best 2 of 3 rounds or matches. Much like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Killer Instinct, and the other great games that were arcade hits at the time. Wow, take a look at that. Bad guy wins the first fall.
Hey, Chico. You know, I haven't seen Razor do the trademark toothpick flick yet. Oh, trying to get a combo in there on clone Razor Ramon. This is certainly getting a little difficult here. Fighting 2 guys at once, especially Bret Hart and Razor Ramon, who just happen to be my 2 favorite wrestlers from the time. But fortunately, you can kind of take them on one, and while the other guy circles around, kind of doesn't know what he's doing. The computer isn't too bright in this game. I think this is on medium difficulty. I didn't touch the settings, and I'm always questioning why these guys try to do these long-distance top rope maneuvers. You dummies.
Another win for the bad guy. Razor Ramon has vanquished the fake Razor that we saw debut after he left WWF in 1996 and the Hitman. Now we're taking on the All-American Lex Luger and the Phenom, the Undertaker.
Now there are a lot of notable omissions from this game's roster. I can think of quite a few other good WWF wrestlers that were worthy of being on this game, and they didn't make it. I'm thinking of Big Daddy Cool Diesel as one of them. C-Dub, what are some other ones?
You know, I would have to say that a glaring omission from this game would be the King of Hearts, Owen Hart, as well as the British Bulldog, as we drop a round there to Lex Luger and the Undertaker. We could have perhaps seen guys like King Mabel from the Men on a Mission tag team in this game. Mabel was certainly a large and larger-than-life character in the WWF at the time. I think this era of the World Wrestling Federation was probably the most cartoony of the 90s since the Hulk Hogan era, and that really lent itself to this game very well in the over-the-top gameplay.
Undertaker and Lex Luger took round 1. Razor came back and took round 2. Let's see if the bad guy can pull it off here. It's going to be tough, C-Dub. Ooh, Razor's Edge on the Undertaker. Now, Lex Luger, I just remember him being one of the most jacked up wrestlers of the time period. You know, British Bulldog, Rick Rude, some other guys were known for their physiques, but Lex Luger kind of topped them all. And he had perhaps the most memorable moment of the early 1990s WWF when he body slammed the massive Yokozuna on the aircraft carrier USS Intrepid.
Yes, indeed. July 4th, 1993. That was a major moment for Luger. And this is going to be a major moment for the bad guy, taking on, in match number 8, 3 opponents at once. We have Shawn Michaels, another clone Razor Ramon, and that damn clown, Doink. I'm hoping that Dink, his sidekick, is not anywhere nearby. Ooh, Shawn Michaels taking the first fall for his team.
Damn it, Razor. Let's get your act together here. This is the final battle for the Intercontinental Championship. As good as this game is to me, though, there are a few disappointing factors. Number one, they're missing the Royal Rumble, King of the Ring, Steel Cage matches, all these different game modes that are found in a lot of newer wrestling games. I guess they were limited by the technology of the time, but it was still fun to play despite not having those extra game modes. The second fall is awarded to Razor Ramon. The third and deciding round is underway.
Indeed, this is for all the marbles, Intercontinental Championship gold, as the bad guy is vanquishing that imposter Razor Ramon, Doink, and the Heartbreak Kid once more. JC, I have to say my main complaint, as we touched on earlier, is that this game featured a pretty small roster with only 8 characters. That was fairly small for fighting games of the time, but as you said, there were limitations from the hardware. And this is still a great game. It was an arcade favorite and responsible for taking many of my quarters as a youth.
Wow, what a comeback by Razor Ramon right there. He had barely any life left, and he was able to take out Doink, Clone Razor, and Shawn Michaels for the Intercontinental Championship.
The bad guy has captured the IC title. In real life, Razor Ramon won the title 4 times. He was the first man to achieve that feat. Ladies and gentlemen, please subscribe and stay tuned for part 2, where The Undertaker goes for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. See you next time.